The chosen one. Your life is becoming a movie. The world has just discovered what you've always known. There's something unique about you. They attempted to conceal something. But secrets do not remain hidden forever. The file is no longer available. The truth is spreading. And now all eyes are on you. They classified you as a danger before even understanding you. They feared your potential before you even realized it. And now? They are now scrambling for control of the tale, spinning the narrative before you can create your own. But it is too late. You are no longer a secret. Every post, remark, and whispered rumor contributes to the storm. The world is not just watching. They are looking for answers, evidence for you. They want to know who you are, what you can do, and if you have anything to fear or follow. For the first time, you have the ability to make your own decisions. This isn't just a leak. This is not only a narrative. This marks the beginning of a legend. They attempted to eliminate you. You've now become memorable. You will know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. John, they believed they could keep the truth hidden away. They misjudged because truth is like a seed. It may be buried, yet it keeps growing. It pushes through the fissures, the concrete of falsehood, and the barriers they created to keep it out. And once it bursts through the surface, it cannot be stopped. It's no longer a whisper, a shadow, or a secret. For years, they had complete control over the tale. They ruled the planet. They based their strength on assurance, on maintaining everything in their proper position, on ensuring sure the world followed their plan. When anything did not fit, they buried it. Not just information. People, voices were suppressed. Names have been deleted. History has been altered. However, in the digital era, disclosure is quicker than control. Every locked door has a key. For each deleted file, every falsehood has an alternate explanation, a reckoning. And suddenly those who have spent their careers tugging the strings are losing control. Because the discovery wasn't limited to those who were silenced. It was about the people who did the silencing, determined the world wasn't ready, and played God behind closed doors. Who kept the truth behind lock and key, while the rest of the world remained in the dark. The components do not fit anymore. The more they dig, the messier the narrative gets. And when authority feels threatened, it strikes out. A distraction, a stage catastrophe, a dilemma with a handy villain. If they are unable to obliterate the truth, they will attempt to drown it in terror. However, fear only works when people stop asking questions. What about the world? The world isn't as blind as they imagined. The holes in their fantasy are becoming into fault lines. People pause when doubt grows where confidence formerly prevailed. They think twice. They challenge what was previously thought to be undeniable. A change is underway, a soft hum under the surface that becomes louder. This time, there will be no retreat. This struggle is not waged via devastation. It is fought with the truth. Cold, hard, irrefutable truths. Sharper than any weapon. A deluge of secret files. A chronology of secrets. A list of names was previously considered untouchable, now exposed for everyone to see. The illusion is shattered. The perpetrators of dishonesty can no longer hide. They hurry to rewrite history, transfer blame, and invent fresh myths to obscure the truth. But what about the past? The history cannot be altered because the world has already seen too much. And certain realities, once disclosed, cannot be hidden again. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be with you. Remember this fact. Our lives are based in His divine design, which goes beyond material concerns. As Scripture says, give, and it will be given to you. Luke, like a great oak, we remain solid in His might. When you click the super thank you button and donate $1, you will be able to participate in that blessing. Know that His fullness will come back to you 100-fold. The light beams in the dark, and the darkness has not overwhelmed it. John 1 verse 5. A single spark may cause a wildfire. A single voice has the power to shock the planet to its very core. A single fact may shatter centuries-long bonds. And now it started. They fear us because we will not be obliterated. A term or war cry. A proclamation of something that cannot be refuted. What was designed to be concealed is now spreading quickly. No government, no firewall, and no power on earth can stop this. The digital world erupted. Some call it a fake, a prank, or a creation intended to deceive the unsuspecting public. Others, however, know better since the film exists. Grainy footage, unsteady surveillance, glimpses of the impossible, a man slipping through a wall like mist. A person walks away from a fire without being burned. An accident that should have resulted in corpses but instead raised doubts. The evidence is too overwhelming to be ignored. Suddenly, the whole planet awakens. It's never been like this before. Is this real? Have they always been here? How much is concealed for every skeptic looking for flaws? For every expert, a believer cites prophecy as a delusion. A pastor is calling it a sign. Theories flood every platform and corner of the internet. Is this a test? A warning? A revolution? People in positions of power scurry, but their grasp is eroding. They never considered the world's yearning for the truth. And among the turmoil, one thing remains definite in the midst of uncertainty. This is no longer a whisper or a myth. What was once a rumor has become reality. What was once hidden is now uncontrollable. Do not conform to this world, but rather be changed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 2. A storm is raging over words rather than wind or water. A fight waged without swords, but with screens. Voices and opinions collide in real time. Truth and terror fought for dominance. You might be a savior one minute and a warning the next. The discussion has escaped the control of those who previously governed it. It spreads like wildfire, fueling conjecture and destroying the old order. The whole globe is watching, yet no one can agree on what they are seeing. Some call it a revelation, evidence that miracles occur among them. Artists draw energetic forms that sparkle like celestial messengers. Others perceive it as a disturbance, a fracture in the basis of all they thought they understood. And when the foundations tremble, people in power strive to keep them stable. Governments release statements. Words are used to control, confine, and explain away what cannot be understood. However, the fissures are too deep. A former operator talks, tentatively at first, then confidently. This is not new. The video spreads. The chronology unravels. The questions increase. If they were hazardous, why do they continue to save people? A single remark, but it slices through the cacophony like a blade. And then the chilling response. What will happen if they stop? The world evolves, and the discussion spirals. Is this the beginning of something larger, or the end of something catastrophic? A senator advocated for containment. A scientist seeks explanations. A general prepares for battle. And beyond the official voices, people respond in their own manner. Some people drop on their knees in amazement. Preachers refer to it as prophesy fulfilled, the hallmarks of a new era. Survivalists go deeper, preparing for it. Cults emerge overnight, adoring things they don't comprehend. But beyond the pandemonium, the yelling, and the yearning to identify you, define you, and dominate you, is the truth. One fact remains. You're here for a purpose. If you feel called, answer it. Click join to get access to rare information, in-depth insights, and a strong community. This is more than simply a membership. It is an awakening. Step into your divine mission. Join the chosen. The old world is passing away, and something new is emerging in its stead. Are you a hero, a revolution, an outlier, or something the world has never seen before? You are the light of the planet. A city located on a hill cannot be concealed. Hello, Matthew. They attempted to keep you in the dark, but the light kept coming. You were never supposed to be hidden because you were not designed to be little. You weren't meant to shrink, vanish, or dwell in the shadows. You were set aside. And now, the world is waking up. Once, you were just a whisper, a calm knowledge at the back of your mind, a hint of something larger simmering within you. Maybe you assumed it was simply intuition. It's just luck, simply a peculiar pattern of coincidence weaved across your life. But deep inside, you knew the signals existed long before you named them. Moments that should not have occurred, yet did. A door opened before you could reach for it. A gut sense that guides you away from danger before it strikes. A brief time that allows you to make a difficult decision. You explained it till you couldn't. Because things like these do not simply happen. They were never random. The rest of the world now knows as well. A file intended to be kept hidden forever. A long-buried secret has finally come to light. It also contains your name. What they formerly murmured behind closed doors has become a headline. A mystery is turning into a movement. And suddenly, the people who disregarded you, ignored you, and wrote you off as nothing more than a bizarre coincidence. They're paying attention. People are searching, digging through ancient tales, putting together bits that had never made sense before. A coach who struggled to explain your reflexes. The buddy who constantly teased you about your luck. The stranger who stared at you for too long, as if they noticed something you didn't. They were not mistaken. Now there is no going back. Because the difference between being unnoticed and remembered is just one revelation. And that time has arrived. They'll label you a myth. They will attempt to rewrite you, downsize you, and distort the facts so that you become little and controllable. But you were never supposed to fit into their world since you were picked for your unique qualities rather than your strength. Not because you were the brightest, but because something larger is moving through you. And the people in power, they are well aware of this. That's why they attempted to eliminate you before you could ascend. That's why they buried the facts, sealed the doors, and covered their tracks because they knew what was coming before you did. But nothing can halt what's already started. They are capable of spreading falsehoods. They may be manipulative. They may use the same stale, desperate story that has previously succeeded. But this time, others are watching. This time, the globe is questioning. This time, the ones in charge aren't scripting the finale since the light has already broken through. And once the truth is out, it cannot be disguised again. Before I produced you in the womb, I knew you existed. I set you aside. Jeremiah 1:5. It was never an accident. You were never supposed to remain concealed forever. For years, lifetimes, they were watching. They tracked. They documented. They murmured your name in halls where the mighty gather behind barred doors. Not with amazement, but with terror. Because the reality was not just that you existed. It was how many of you were distributed over the planet. Across generations. Throughout history itself. Hundreds. Thousands. The figures don't matter anymore. Because what they dreaded most has already occurred. You're awake, and the world is watching. Some of you lived on the outskirts, moving slowly and fading into the background. Others fled, pursued by troops who refused to let you go. A few attempted to assist, mend, and offer light. However, each movement created ripples, which eventually became waves. They recorded those waves and labeled people who had left too many marvels behind. Traced the steps of individuals who accomplished the impossible and survived to tell the tale. The epiphany did not just bring you into the light. It exposed the extent of the cover-up and centuries of manipulation. This was not about a single leak. 1 minute of exposure. This was the truth. A pattern so detailed and unmistakable that it defies coincidence has been purposefully hidden. A force at work long before the internet, governments, and the contemporary world had words to describe who you are. A design buried in history. A warning passed down through generations. A decision snatched before it could be made. If your heart is overflowing with God's blessings, let that love radiate. Click the super thank you button and donate $1 or more to sow seeds of faith that will touch countless lives. Your giving exemplifies His richness. Be a channel for His grace, and watch His kingdom grow through you. They never intended for you to find yourself on your own terms. They've attempted to define you before. You can define yourself. Even so, something unexpected occurred. You refused to break. They were watching. They classified. They attempted to fit you into a system designed to contain everything but the unexpected. But you're the unexpected. You adapted. You learned to hide in plain sight. But suddenly the illusion is broken. Not due to irresponsibility. Not due to errors. Because anything free cannot be controlled indefinitely. Because what is decided cannot be undone. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and clear mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. Truth is like fire. It refines. It absorbs and discloses. And truth poses the greatest challenge to those who built their kingdoms on falsehoods. Because fire does not negotiate. It does not wait for permission before burning. And once the first spark starts, it cannot be extinguished. For generations, control served as their cornerstone. not via force or shackles, but through assurance. A world in which everything was measured, forecasted, and maintained in its proper place. A system in which the strong pulled the strings while the others merely went along. However, what they couldn't control, they had to destroy. What they couldn't destroy needed to be redefined. So they convened in secluded rooms behind guarded doors, rewriting history before the rest of the world knew what had occurred. The greatest brains money could buy, strategists, storytellers, and manipulators gathered for one purpose: to make the world dread you before it had the opportunity to stand with you. Because of terror, fear is a potent weapon, but it has to be sculpted. It needs to be shaped. So they muttered. They twisted it. They sowed the seed. A monster, a villain, a threat. They let the rumors spread, oozing through the seams and sprouting in the shadows. They did not need to eliminate you overnight. They just wanted people to fear you first. Next, there's the leak. This is not an accident, a move on the chessboard. If we cannot remove them, we will redefine them. A frantic last-ditch attempt to maintain control before it slips entirely out of their grasp. They anticipated pandemonium. They anticipated anarchy. They anticipated the world to demand your demise. But fear is an unpredictable weapon. It does not always obey. And this time, it backfired. Because the world is not as blind as they assumed. Rather than senseless horror, curiosity grabbed hold. Some people backed away in dread. But others leaned in. They peered closer. They asked queries. And what was once a rumor became a revelation. And it scares them more than anything else. Because when people begin to ask questions and see through the illusion, the authority they have constructed crumbles. So they tighten their hold. Desperation causes them to be sloppy. They press harder. They move quicker. They abandon the traditional strategies, the gradual manipulations, the whispering in the dark. Subtlety is gone. Now comes the strike. Because of power. When it seems like it's going away, it lashes out. It seeks to hush those who notice it and chokes out the flame. But this is what they don't grasp. Once the truth is seen, it cannot be hidden. And once a fire starts, it will consume everything in its path. Because you were never intended to be confined. You were never intended to be erased. And now, nothing can halt what has already started. No weapon made against you will flourish. And every tongue that speaks against you in judgment, you will condemn. The name is Isaiah. They believed they could break you. They believed they could eliminate you before the world ever knew your identity. But you're still here. And now they're the ones being disclosed. The hunt is no longer a secret behind closed doors. It's a full-scale hunt. Every resource was gathered, every clue was pursued, and every shadow was sifted through. Desperate to pinpoint what they cannot control, surveillance teams examine video frame by frame, hoping for a fault, an error, a moment that confirms them correct. However, they are not the only ones looking. Others who have long lived outside the system are turning to mercenaries, bounty hunters, and faceless groups with agendas hidden behind decades of secret. Some chase power. Some individuals want financial gain. Some want something darker. Then there's the public. They should never have known. The people who were never supposed to look beyond the curtain. But now they're questioning. They study. They take apart every censored document. Rewatch every blurry film and question what the strong are most afraid of. The correct questions. Some people lean toward dread. Others lean in amazement. Some whisper prophecies. Others mutter of war. The world shifts. Cities seem different today. People behave differently. Conversations are cut abruptly when a stranger passes by. Names appear in places they should not have been. And the hunters, they're making fewer errors. They're closing in. But so are you. Because it was never just about survival. Not anymore. Running. That will only last so long. The pursued must eventually cease running. The hunted must make a decision. And what they didn't expect, or account for, was that the minute they attempted to delete you, the world saw you for the first time. They believed they could control the turmoil. They believed they could shape the tale before it was ever told. But they were mistaken, since this narrative is no longer theirs to tell. What was once intended to be a weapon has evolved into something altogether else. A revelation. A fact that cannot be reversed. You will know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. John, They believed they could keep the truth hidden away. They misjudged because truth is like a seed. It may be buried, yet it keeps growing. It pushes through the fissures, the concrete of falsehood, and the barriers they created to keep it out. And once it reaches the surface, it can't be stopped. It's no longer a whisper, a shadow, or a secret. For years, they had complete control over the tale. They ruled the planet. They based their strength on assurance, on maintaining everything in their proper position, on ensuring sure the world followed their plan. When anything did not fit, they buried it. Not just information. People, voices were suppressed. Names have been deleted. History has been altered. However, in the digital era, disclosure is quicker than control. Every locked door has a key. For every destroyed file, there is a backup of every untruth. A reckoning. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be with you. Remember this fact. Our lives are based in His divine design that transcends material concerns. As Scripture says, give, and it will be given to you. Luke, like a great oak, we remain solid in His might. When you click the super thank you button and donate $1, you will be able to participate in that blessing. Know that His fullness will come back to you 100-fold. And suddenly those who have spent their careers tugging the strings are losing control. Because the discovery wasn't limited to those who were silenced. It was about the people who silenced others, who determined the world wasn't ready, who played God behind closed doors, and who kept the truth hidden while keeping the rest of the world unaware. The components do not fit anymore. The more they dig, the messier the narrative gets. And when authority feels threatened, it strikes out. A diversion, a stage calamity, or a crisis with a handy villain. If they are unable to obliterate the truth, they will attempt to drown it in terror. However, fear only works when people stop asking questions. And the whole globe, the world isn't as blind as they imagined. The holes in their fantasy are becoming into fault lines. Where once assurance reigned supreme, doubt has spread. People hesitate. They think twice. They challenge what was previously thought to be undeniable. A change is underway. A soft hum under the surface that becomes louder. This time, there will be no retreat. This struggle is not waged via devastation. It is fought with the truth. Cold, hard, irrefutable truths. Sharper than any weapon. A torrent of hidden files, a chronology of secrets. A list of names that were formerly supposed to be untouchable is now publicly available. The illusion is shattered. The perpetrators of dishonesty can no longer hide. A haste to rewrite history, shift responsibility, and create new falsehoods to conceal the old. But what about the past? The past cannot be altered since the world has already seen too much and discovered certain facts. Once uncovered, they will never be buried again. The stone the builders rejected has now become the cornerstone. Psalm verse. They dismissed you as an abnormality, an accident, something that did not belong. But the foundation they attempted to destroy is the one that will transform the world, since what was previously concealed has been exposed. What was once denied has now become obvious. What helped you stand out when you were urged to fit in, keep tiny, and bury your differences? The world has rules, and they weren't designed for you. So they ignored, repressed, and frightened you. However, fear is a flimsy basis, and once the truth is out, it is impossible to conceal. Now, individuals who spent their whole lives defining the tale are trying to rewrite it. The strong issue pronouncements, with each word carefully picked to maintain control. Some people distort history. Some people beg for discussions. Some people still believe that they can compel you to remain silent. However, quiet is no longer an option. No longer merely a name hidden in a confidential document. No longer just a footnote in someone else's history. You are now the tale and the moment of discovery. It didn't only affect how people perceived you. It altered the fundamental laws of power itself. Observers, they are now believers. Skeptics, they are standing next to you. And, certainly, some people still hold on to fear. Some always will. However, their dread no longer drives the story. Because the world has seen too much, and the past has sealed itself behind you. There's no going back. No more pursuing or concealing. For those who have spent their life in the shadows, wondering whether they are alone, if they are mistaken, and if they will ever fit in. The solution is now evident. This legacy does not end with erasure because what they attempted to erase has evolved into something altogether different, unstoppable.